Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
From Top Notch Sports. And today we're going to be over the 2022 New York Football Giants salary review and off-season moves for 2022. Brian Daboll coming from the Buffalo Bills. Really good offense over there in Buffalo. You're going to try to bring it over here in New York with Joe Shane, new GM. Really interested to see what they do here. This is going to be a mock offseason for those of you new to this channel. We're going to do an entire offseason review and what we think they're going to possibly do. Mike, I'm going to give you the first slide. Go ahead.
All right, so starting off, they have negative $10.7 million in cap room. Now, to free that up, if you see it, the players in green, so let's go to James Bradberry, for example. If you cut James Bradberry, you save $12 million on the cap. So you would actually be in the positives by releasing James Bradberry. Now, if you were going to go release somebody like Andrew Thomas, not saying they would, but for example, you would actually lose $10 million more and be in the hole even further. That's the difference between the colors.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you see here, you actually get a lot of yellows. If you cut them, you don't do anything. But there's no reason to get rid of Jones, Barkley, or Lawrence. It just shows you there are reports coming out today that Barkley could be on the trade block. You will lose nothing if you were to do that. I also heard rumors that Shepard could be on the trade block. You would save money if you do that. And some guys look at, like I said, Blake Martinez is a guy that's probably going to either get a pay deduction or cut. Kyle Rudolph did get cut, but again, that's going to be part of this video. You guys are going to see that, considering we made these slides a few days ago and things have been happening. So we'll have that there. Also, we already had that predicted. James Bradberry, $12 million. Again, another trade candidate, cut candidate, or maybe even a restructured candidate, but a really good player from the cornerback position. Didn't have a great year last year, but we saw what he did 2 years ago. Phenomenal. So let's hop into the next slide. We're going to go over the guys that aren't listed here, the current free agents that you possibly could be losing this year because you don't have money right now. Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so looking at the notable losses, but before I get into it, I got to give a shout out to our numbers guy. He figures out the expected contracts and the percentage of snaps played. Noah, the radio antenna Thompson. Okay, so starting off, let's look at Evan Ingram, tight end. His contract is supposed to be a 2-year, $18 million deal. He played 65.6% of the snaps. Then we got Jabril Peppers, strong safety. His expected contract is a 1-year, $5.5 million deal, and he only played 19.6% of the snaps this year. Next, we got right tackle Nate Solder. He is expected to get 1 year, $5 million, and he played 84.1% of the snaps. And finally, Lorenzo Carter, edge. His expected contract is a 2-year, $8 million deal, and he played 52.8% of the snaps.
All right, good rule of thumb here, typically for any of these sides, for any of these teams, a guy that usually plays a high percent of the snaps are guys that you usually target to bring back. The issue is with your cap space right now, it's going to be very hard to bring people back. So the next slide, we're going to talk about what the hell is going on, what our ideas were then, and what they kind of are now. So here we go. Here's your potential targets. Negative $10.7 million in estimated cap space available. We got you cutting Kyle Rudolph, which saves you $5 million because you guys already did that. That means right now, currently, the Giants in general have negative $5.7 million in estimated cap space available. Now, you could do some restructures. I'm going to go back to the first slide real fast to show you. You could restructure some of these guys and get back into the positives, right? If you were to cut Blake Martinez right away, you're back down, you're positive about $3 million. And then maybe if you cut James Bradberry, you're positive $15 million. I don't know if it's worth cutting half your starters to save $15 million, maybe to bring in a guy or two. I truly don't know if it's worth it. Another thing is here too, going back to the potential targets list, we don't have you bringing in anybody. We don't have you really using a franchise tag on Evan Ingram. Again, do you truly believe that you're going to cut Kyle Rudolph, which you already did, cut Blake Martinez, and you got to cut somebody else just to either sign or franchise tag Evan Ingram? I don't know if you're going to cut 2 to 3 guys. I don't know if you guys are going to cut James Bradberry to bring in one guy on this team when James Bradberry is a pretty good player. Now, if you restructure him, which we don't do restructures, that's why we don't have you do that. We got you guys building completely through the draft. But right now, we only have you cutting Kyle Rudolph because we don't feel like it's a really good idea to cut 3 other guys or 2 other guys or another guy just to get back to positive. And once you get back to positive, then what does that do? You wasted 3 guys just to get back to where you had to be to begin with. Now you're going to cut another 2 guys just to get a little bit positive to bring in. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, it doesn't make sense. I understand getting back to flat, getting back to 0, getting maybe to 5 million. But to make 10 cuts just to get back to 0, to me, it's just you're wasting a lot of players. Just use them, wait until the contracts expire, and then see what you can do. Under team needs, okay? According to a few websites, it says quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Look, we got you guys really not addressing those positions in this mock free agency and mock offseason and mock draft. What we do got you guys doing, filling in those tight end needs, interior offensive line needs, offensive tackle needs, edge needs, and linebacker needs. Look, this is what we got. Draft picks in the first round. We got Kayvon Thibodeau falling down to you guys. There's a lot of reports going on that Thibodeau is going to fall down the board a little bit. And I think if he falls to you guys got to pull the trigger and bring him in. Another first round pick for you guys, Charles Cross, right tackle. This guy played left tackle in college, played a little bit of right tackle as well. He plugged him in, play him right away alongside Andrew Thomas, left tackle, right tackle. You guys got two really good tackles now. Going to be really good. Second round, bring in Zion Johnson. Really good guy falling down the boards in our mock draft as an interior offensive lineman. Considering in this mock offseason, we got you guys losing Evan Ingram. We got you guys bringing in Jeremy Rucker, who I figure is honestly, in my opinion, one of the better tight ends in this in this draft in general. But a lot of reports have him fallen to the third, fourth round. So I think he would be a steal for you guys in the third round. And last but not least, third round pick, Cole Strange. Strange is another interior offensive lineman, really bulking up that line. Bring him into the third round. Fourth round, we're not going to project for you guys. But overall, with these moves, that's what we got for you guys right now. Let's go into the 2022 projected depth chart here. Mike, go ahead.
All right, so looking at the projected depth chart, we got players in light blue. Now, these are the rookies that are going to be drafted and step right in and play. We got Zion Johnson, we got Cole Strange, we got Charles Cross, Jeremy Ruckert, and Kayvon Thibodeau, who on a lot of websites is actually the number one prospect. So if he falls to the Giants, I mean, that's always debatable. People are going to have different guys as the number one prospect. But if he falls to the Giants, I think that's a great pick for the Giants. And then we got guys in yellow who are placeholders where we think you should look to improve is Tay Crowder and Blake Martinez, both being placeholders. Maybe you improve here later in the draft. Maybe you draft some linebackers in the fourth, fifth round. We'll have to just wait and see. But that's a position we believe you should address.
Absolutely. And again, this video is going to be the weirdest video we've done because there's so much questions and there's so much this and there's so much that with who are they going to cut. And the reason why I got Blake Martinez here, number one, didn't play a lot last year, but number two, he saved $8.5 million. So in my opinion, it's a no-brainer to cut him. But it's also like, are you going to get more production out of Blake Martinez than you are nobody? And the answer is absolutely yes. So even though it will help you get back to that zero range or $3 million, you're not going to get a guy for $3 million better than Blake Martinez. Okay, so that's why, I mean, you kind of got to consider maybe keeping him here. But a lot of blue, a lot of youth. We don't have you signing nobody. But, I mean, with all those draft picks in the first three rounds, I really love what this Giants team has. A really good young offensive line. Nick Gates is someone, in my opinion, that you also should probably look to maybe even cut, or if not cut, you look to maybe bring in another center. But there's not a lot of good centers coming out of this year's draft. I don't see you guys spending a first-round pick on Tyler Linderbaum. Especially if you can get Cross and Thibodeau. I mean, if Thibodeau's there, that's amazing. Cornerback-wise, Adoree Jackson, James Bradbury. Again, that's really good. If you guys do these moves, okay, last year you guys were third in the division. I honestly, what am I saying? Last in the division, you guys were 4-13. Look, here's my thing about you guys. You guys started last year. Joe Judge, I really don't know if Joe Judge could have done much with the depth chart that you guys had and the injuries that you guys had. Brian Daboll and Joe Shane come in here. I think that if they make these moves, I feel like you guys can easily win 7, 8, even 9 wins. I'm going to be honest with you. I see a major improvement right away. You guys got a good receiving core. You got a good tight end coming in. You got a really good young offensive line. You got a great edge rusher. And I honestly feel like your guys' defense is honestly pretty dang good already. So, Mike, what do you think for this Giants team? From 4-13 to what this year, and what do you think for this team in general?
I think this defense is good. I'm an Eagles fan, so I watch the Eagles play this team 2 times a year, and this defense is good. Xavier McKinney, Nick, he's my favorite safety coming out of the draft. He has actually played very well. James Bradbury is a good cornerback. Adoree Jackson is good. Logan Ryan made that switch to safety and has been phenomenal. So I think adding Thibodeau to this defense just makes this defense more fierce. But I think they'll probably struggle again. I think they're going to deal with injuries because they deal with injuries every single season with Saquon Barkley. And then you got guys like Kenny Golladay who are injury prone. Sterling Shepard has had his fair share of injuries. So I look at that and immediately expect it because it happens every single year. Daniel Jones, with more protection, I would like to see what Daniel Jones is going to give you. Because Daniel Jones he has stretches where he plays well, and then he has stretches where he looks terrible. And I think a lot of it is the offensive line. So I do think he deserves a fair shot. He deserves another year or two to try to get his feet wet. But how can you expect Daboll to come in year one and completely turn this thing around? I don't see it happening. They have playmakers on offense. Don't get me wrong. But Saquon Barkley, when he gets injured and he kind of pushes his team back, you got to watch out for him. I'm kind of in favor of them moving on from Saquon Barkley, to be honest with you, because I think you can get a decent amount for him. But right now, I'd probably lock him in at about 5 or 6 wins. I do have him improving slightly, but I don't expect to see a big splash out of him this year.
No, I hear you on that. Look, again, this team, if they make these moves, you got to give Daniel Jones a fair shot. And the way you do that is you bring an offensive lineman. I'm going to be honest with you. Matt Pert did not play terrible. Me and Mike, when we saw the guy come out of college, we were like, no, he's a pretty good pick for them. And he did not play bad at the right tackle position. So it was actually kind of tough for me to plug in Charles Cross and put him there because Pert, I know he's not going to be great for you guys and you guys are going to complain about him, but he wasn't terrible. And maybe if you guys didn't put it on Cross, maybe you guys could have got a wide receiver or something. But look, in general, I feel like you just spent a first round on Kadarius Toney last year. You got Kenny Golladay. You got Sterling Shepard. You got, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if John Ross is still in the contract. He might not be. But look, overall, this team right here.
Darius Slayton, too.
Darius, that's exactly. Darius Slayton plays great with Daniel Jones. But in my opinion, when you look at this team, it's a team that can win a few games this year. Okay. And I do want to see improvement. Like Mike said, you can't expect Brian Daboll to come in year one, bring in a playbook and have this team making the playoffs. If they do, that's phenomenal. And I feel like this year is about addressing the offensive line position. And even I know Mike said possibly give up Saquon and if you can get something good, great. But I think this will also give Saquon Barkley a fair shot. Now, he has injury history. That's not going to change that. But I feel like he might produce a lot better if he has an offensive line that looks something like this compared to what it used to look like. And now you got Kadarius Toney. You got weapons. If you're Daniel Jones now, you got weapons. You got a decent offensive line. I want to see something. Now, again, Mike, you know me. I'm a Raiders fan, okay? I'm a Derek Carr fan. Dennis Allen, okay? Tony Sperano. Huge, Tony Sperano. Now I'm drawing a blank. Tony Sperano, Jack Del Rio, John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia. And now you got Josh McDaniels. That's 7 coaches in 8 years. 6 coaches in 8 years, plus 4 or 5 different offensive coordinators. Daniel Jones, very similar situation. And I defended Carr all those years, and I still do to this day. You got to defend Daniel Jones. The guy he started with, Pat Shermer. Then he went and he had Joe Judge. And now and you got to understand the offensive coordinators kept changing too. Jason Garrett. Yeah, Jason Garrett. And now you look at it and now you got to say, what is he going to do? What is he going to do with a whole new system, a whole new scheme, Brian Daboll and everything? So we'll see what happens. But overall, it's going to be tough to evaluate Daniel Jones properly. I know Joe Shane and Brian Daboll both said it's almost impossible to evaluate him under what he already went through. Mike, anything else?
Not at all.
I hope this team does pretty good. Listen, New York fans, you guys are hardcore fans. I have nothing but respect. I'm hoping to see 7-8 wins from this New York Giants team, and I feel like that would be pretty good with a really young offensive line and a really young team. Sign off now, both of us. See you guys soon. Peace. We are.
Feel better.
See you guys soon. Peace.